water magic might have just become the most important spell element in RuneScape Dragonwilds, and not because it has the ability to heal you, but because it might actually solve Umbral Sands' deadliest problem. Keep an eye on this thirst bar on the bottom left-hand side. It's at 75, drops to 74, but once they pick up the Water Orb, it immediately goes up to 79. And unfortunately, the video immediately ends afterwards, so we can't see if it continues to increase the thirst meter. But judging by this dev footage here that they showcased, the water meter did increase, and there was nothing that they ate or drank in the video. So that leads me to believe that not only will it replenish your health, but potentially even replenish some of your thirst meter, which is absolutely huge for Umbral Sands. The Umbral Sands update is introducing a brand new mechanic called Scorch, which basically just reduces your thirst meter a lot faster than you are used to by standing out in the sun and not remaining to the shadows, right? With that being said here, if the Water Orbs not only replenish your health, but also replenish some of your thirst meter, this is a massive game changer, and it's going to increase your survivability tenfold and make the water element very, very important for literally every player. And again, this has not been officially stated as actually being a thing in the game, but judging by the dev footage, it looks like it might be. And judging by Jagex and always leaving out just enough information here for you to speculate until the update drops and to be surprised when the update arrives, I wouldn't put it past them. Now, water magic being officially confirmed here for the game actually adds in the very first element that we've had added to the game since early access. The early access launch, we've only had air magic and fire magic, and both of them are awesome and they do have their own roles, but water magic is also introducing a brand new class build that players can partake in, and that is introducing the first support/sustain build. Right now, as it sits in the game, air magic is basically the hardest hitting or does the most DPS on its initial hit. It's not really meant for several targets or multiple targets, even though the follow or the finishing combo can hit multiple targets. More often than not, it is going to be used for a single target damage. It's got the highest amount of damage output, but it is more focused on hitting one individual. The fire magic, or the fire element I should say, is more all around the multiple enemies, right? It does less damage on its initial hit when using a fire attack compared to a air attack, but it does have the ability to apply burn, which will do damage over time, and is very good for multiple enemies when you are fighting them. And now we can introduce water magic, and water is going to be all focused around crowd control, sustain, and basically survivability. The very first thing that they talk about is that it has the ability to apply a slow debuff. This does eventually cap out by stacking it up to 30% of reduced movement speed, very similar to you yourself running through a body of water and it naturally slowing you down with its, resistance. Same thing applies here for enemies. So it'll allow you to obviously keep a further distance from your enemy, allowing it to take a longer for the enemy to close the gap on you to potentially, hopefully, allow you to kill it before it does reach you. And the second big mechanic with water spells is going to be introducing these Water Orbs, as I talked about at the beginning of the video. These Water Orbs have a chance that after you kill an enemy utilizing the water spells, it can drop a Water Orb. If you walk up to the Water Orb and basically consume it, it has the ability to heal you for a certain percentage of your health, which is absolute game changer here when it comes to the mechanics of Dragonwilds. Up until this point, you really could only heal yourself with potions and not really anything else, and this now marks the first time that we have a healing spell added to Dragonwilds. And it's not even a spell that you have to cast, it is going to be strictly based on a random chance of it happening upon killing an enemy, which is huge. And this honestly reminds me a lot of Diablo and the health orbs that drop on enemies, by chance. And speaking on Diablo here, that also makes me think back to the specific gear or the, types of affects that you can get on gear that did buff the amount of health orbs or the percentage chance to drop a health orb on killing an enemy. It makes me wonder if we could see something very similar to that with the gear that will unlock with Umbral Sands, maybe the Vestige set, if you will, because it makes me think a lot of the Dowdun Reach, set that we had related to demons, whether that means taking less damage from demons or doing more damage, to demons via the weapons. I'm very curious to see how they're going to play that out here. Maybe we'll see something related to the water spells. Maybe we'll see something related to the Scorch, not affecting you as much, so it doesn't drain your thirst meter as fast. I mean, you name it here. I think the opportunities are, limitless. And now Now, with all three elements being added here to Dragonwilds, let's talk about a specific rotation or how I could see myself utilizing it. The very first one and the most crucial one is probably going to be opening up with water magic, right? Attacking the enemy with water is going to basically apply the slow debuff. Not only is this very crucial because as a magic user, you have less armor, right? You're going to take more damage if you do get smacked around in melee, but it's going to allow you to slow the enemy down. Then I would swap, after applying the slow debuff with water, I would swap the element to air if you have 1 to 2 enemies, because air magic does the most damage on hit, and while they have the slow debuff applied, it's going to then just basically hopefully allow you to kill the enemies before they get to you or close that gap. The second option would be swapping to fire damage if it is 2 or more enemies, right? Obviously at 2, you kind of have to pick and choose depending on how tanky those enemies are, or how if they're melee or ranged units, you name it here, but swapping to fire will allow you to apply each of them with burn, which will then do more damage over time on top of them having the slow debuff. So obviously swap to whichever one is according to how many enemies that you currently are going up against. And yeah, this rotation basically means that the water is definitely not going to be topping the damage charts, at least not anytime soon based on what we have seen. However, though, it does a very good job at controlling the fight, and it does officially add a support/sustain build here to Dragonwilds, and that's going to be huge not only for group play, as you're probably thinking, but also for solo players. I think Jagex is absolutely cooking here with not only this edition, but pretty much everything they're changing here with Umbral Sands, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to check out the video you see here on screen where I dive deep into everything confirmed so far coming with the update.